Hello everyone, welcome back to All About Data YouTube channel. In this video series, we are starting our complete preparation for the SnowPro Core certification. SnowPro Core is Snowflake foundational certification and it validates our understanding of Snowflake architecture, core concepts, performance, security, and best practice required for real world usage. This certification is ideal for data engineers, data analytics, architects, and anyone who work with Snowflake or is planning to build a strong career in Snowflake ecosystem. Throughout this series, we will break down each exam topic in a simple, practical, and exam-oriented way. So you not only clear the certification but also understand how Snowflake works internally. In the next section, we will begin with an important exam topic: use Snowflake interface and tools. Let's get started. Now let's move into the exam topic, use Snowflake interface and tools. Snowflake provides multiple interfaces to interact with the platform, and understanding when to use each one is important for both real-world usage and the SnowPro Core exam. The first and most commonly used interface in the Snowflake Web UI, also called Snowsight. It is browser-based and it is ideal for running SQL queries, managing warehouses, monitoring query history, and performing administrative tasks. The second section is the command line interface or SnowSQL. This is mainly used for automation, scripting, and batch processing, especially in CI/CD pipelines. The third category includes IDs and external tools such as Visual Studio Code and other SQL editors, which developers prefer for coding, version control, and integrations. For the exam, remember that all these interfaces connect to the same Snowflake backend. The difference is only how user interact with Snowflake. In the next slide, we will start looking at these interfaces in more detail. Snowflake interaction can be understood using three simple pillars. The first pillar is the lens, which represents the Snowsight, the Snowflake web interface. This is mainly used for the exploration, running queries, visualizing the data, monitoring workloads, and performing administrative tasks. It's the most user-friendly interface. The second pillar is the hammer, which refers to the CLI SnowSQL. This is designed for the automation, scripting, batch execution, and large-scale data loading. NoSQL is commonly used in scheduling jobs and CI/CD pipelines. The third pillar is the workbench, which represents IDs like Visual Studio Code. These are preferred by the developer for writing SQL, managing code with Git, and working across multiple languages. From an exam perspective, remember that all three interfaces connect to the same Snowflake engine, but each one is optimized for a different type of work. In the next slide, we will start diving deeper into these interface one by one. Connect to Snowflake, the account identifier is a critical concept and it's important for the SnowPro Core exam. Snowflake supports two formats for account identifier. The first is the legacy format, which looks like a locator.region. This format is region specific, hard to remember, and not recommended unless absolutely required. The second and preferred option is the standard account identifier format, which follows organization name dash account name. This format is human readable, portable across regions, and considered a best practice by Snowflake. From an exam perspective, always choose the standard format when asked about the connectivity or best practices. Also remember this pro tip: if you are seen an account not found error, the first thing to verify whether the account identifier format is correct. In the next slide, we will continue exploring how user interact with Snowflake using different interfaces. Snowsight is Snowflake web interface and it's much more than just a SQL editor. At the core, Snowsight provides an interactive SQL editor where you can write and execute query easily. One key feature is context switching. You can instantly change the roles and warehouses directly from the UI without running additional SQL commands. Snowsight also offers instant visualization, allowing you to convert query result into charts with just a click, no external tools like Excel required. Using dashboard, you can group queries and visualization together for reporting and monitoring. Another important feature is query history, which helps you visually analyze query performance and troubleshoot issues. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this clearly. Snowsight supports querying, visualization, administrations, and performance analysis, all in one interface. In next slide, we'll look at the other tools that complement Snowsight for automation and development. SQL is a Snowflake command line interface and the core tool for automation. It is mainly used when you want to run Snowflake queries from scripts, jobs, or CI/CD pipelines. SnowSQL works in two simple steps. First is configuration. You define a named connection profile in a config file where you specify the account name, user, and warehouse. This makes authentication reusable and secure without hard coding credentials in scripts. The second step is execution. Using the profile name, you run SnowSQL commands directly from the terminal. SnowSQL is commonly used for batch processing, data loading, automation, and schedule the job. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this key point. SnowSQL is best suited for automation and non-interactive workloads, unlike Snowsight, which is UI-driven. Next, we will see how developers use IDs to work with Snowflake more efficiently. Now let's look at a very important SnowSQL only feature, the put command. The put command is used to upload files directly from your local file system into a Snowflake internal stage. In simple terms, it moves data from your laptop to Snowflake securely. The syntax uses put file need to specify the path, which clearly shows that the source is a local file. This command works only through SnowSQL or programmatically interfaces, not through the Snowflake web UI. That's a key exam point. You cannot run the put command in Snowsight. Once the file is uploaded to an internal stage, it can be loaded into tables using the copy command. For SnowPro Core, remember this clearly. Local file upload equals put command and put equals NoSQL only. Next, we will see how developer uses IDEs to work with Snowflake efficiently. Now let's talk about IDE integration, which is the developer preferred way of working with Snowflake. Snowflake provides an official extension for Visual Studio Code, allowing developer to connect directly to Snowflake from their IDE. From here, you can browse databases, schemas, and tables without leaving your code editor. IDs are especially important when working with stored procedures, Snowpark applications, and complex SQL or Python logic. Another key advantage is Git integration, which enables version control for your SQL and Python code. This makes IDs ideal for team-based development, CI/CD pipelines, and production-grade workloads. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this clearly. Snowsight is great for exploration, SnowSQL is best for automation, and IDs are essential for development and version control. Next, we will quickly recap how to choose the right interface for the right use cases. Now let's understand the authentication method supported by Snowflake. First is user ID and password. This is mainly used for interactive ad hoc access such as a logging in through Snowsight. For security, it must be paired with multi-factor authentication, commonly using Duo. Next is single sign-on or SSO. This is the preferred choice for enterprise environments where Snowflake is integrated with identity provider like Okta or Azure Active Directory. SSO helps meet corporate security and compliance requirements. Finally, we have a key pair authentication. This is mandatory for service accounts and automation because script cannot type password. Key pair authentication is commonly used with a SnowSQL, APIs, and automated pipelines. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this rule. Human use MFA or SSO, but machines always use key pair authentication. Now let's talk about establishing session context in Snowflake. Every Snowflake session runs with a specific context, and this context decides what you can access and what you can run. A session is defined by four key elements: user, role, warehouse, and database. Among these, the role is most important because permissions are granted to roles, not users. The warehouse provides compute, and without it, queries simply won't run. This is why context matters. Most object not found error are not missing data problem, they are missing context problem. That's why it's best practice to explicitly set your session using command like use role account admin and use warehouse compute warehouse. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this: always check role and warehouse first before assuming an object does not exist. Now let's look at the scripting and batch automation in Snowflake using SnowSQL. SnowSQL allows you to run entire SQL files instead of executing statement one by one. Using dash up option, you can execute hundred of SQL statements in a single run, perfect for deployment, migrations, and scheduling job. An important to best practice is error handling. By using dash o, exit on error is equal to true. SnowSQL will immediately stop the execution if any statement fails. This prevents partial deployments and keeps your environment consistent. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this clearly. SnowSQL is the primary tool for batch execution, automation, and CI/CD style workflow in Snowflake. Now let's talk about security hygiene when using Snowflake interface and tools. First is encryption. Snowflake enforces TLS 1.2 on all connections, which means data is transit is always encrypted and secure by default. Next is continuity. Client session keeps alive helps prevent timeout during long running queries or batch operations, especially when using SnowSQL or automation scripts. Finally, a very important logging warning. When using CLI tools, make sure your command history and local log files never stop plain text credentials. Always prefer keep your authentication or secure configuration files. For the SnowPro Core exam, remember this Snowflake enforces secure connection by default, but credential hygiene is the user responsibility. Let's wrap up this topic with a quick summary. For ad hoc analysis and visual insights, Snowsight is the best choice. For bulk loading, automation, and pipelines, SnowSQL is the right tool. And for application development and version control, VS Code with Snowflake extension gives the maximum flexibility. Remember this for the SnowPro Core exam. The right interface depends on the job, not the other way around. Master all three and your master Snowflake. If the video helped you understand the topic better, please like the video, share it with your Snowflake friends, and subscribe to the channel for complete SnowPro Core certification guidelines. In the next video, we will cover an important exam topic, Snowflake organization and account objects, where we will find the how Snowflake account and objects are structured at the organization level. Thanks for the watching and see you in the next session.